Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. A very warm welcome on behalf of Finnish Island Govindadwipa for this Monday morning Srimad-Bhagavatam class. We are reading today from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 13, entitled Dhritarashtra Quits Home, Text 10. Before we read this verse, let's sing Jai Radha Madhav. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivara Dhari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivara Dhari, Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivara Dhari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivara Dhari, Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivara Dhari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivara Dhari, Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda Shri Radhe. Jaya Nitai Sachinandana Gaura Hari, Nitai Sachinandana Gaura Hari. Jaya Nitai Sachinandana Gaura Hari, Nitai Sachinandana Gaura Hari. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nittai Gaura Hari Bol, Nittai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nittai Gaura Hari Bol. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahams Parivrajakacarya Ashtotra Shatashri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्रीला हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय, मथुरा धाम की जय, तुलसी देवी की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, सामवेद भक्त वृंद की जय। All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Sarvam Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today we are reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 10, entitled Dhritarashtra Quits Home, Text 10. The verse is, bhavad-vidhā bhāgavatās, tīrtha-bhūtāḥ svayaṁ vibho, tīrthī-kurvanti tīrthāni, svāntaḥ-sthena gadābhṛtā. Bhavad-vidhā bhāgavatās, tīrtha-bhūtāḥ svayaṁ vibho, tīrthī-kurvanti tīrthāni, svāntaḥ-sthena gadābhṛtā. Bhavad-vidhā bhāgavatās, tīrtha-bhūtāḥ svayaṁ vibho, tīrthī-kurvanti tīrthāni, svāntaḥ-sthena gadābhṛtā. Word by word. Bhavad, your good self. Vidhā, like. Bhāgavatā, devotees. Tīrthā, the holy places of pilgrimage. Bhūtā, converted into. Svayaṁ, personally. Vibho, O powerful one. Tīrthī-kurvanti, make into a holy place of pilgrimage. tīrthāni, the holy places, svāntaḥ-sthena, having been situated in the heart, gadābhṛtā, the personality of Godhead. Translation: My dear Lord, devotees like your good self are verily holy places personified. Because you carry the personality of Godhead within your heart, you turn all places into places of pilgrimage. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. The personality of Godhead is omnipresent by His diverse potencies everywhere, just as the power of electricity is distributed everywhere within space. Similarly, the Lord's omnipresence is perceived and manifested by His unalloyed devotees like Vidura, just as electricity is manifested in an electric bulb. A pure devotee like Vidura always feels the presence of the Lord everywhere. He sees everything in the potency of the Lord and the Lord in everything. The holy places all over the earth are meant for purifying the polluted consciousness of the human being by an atmosphere surcharged with the presence of the Lord's unalloyed devotees. If anyone visits a holy place, he must search out the pure devotees residing in such holy places. Take lessons from them. Try to apply such instructions in practical life and thus gradually prepare oneself for the ultimate salvation, going back to Godhead. To go to some holy place of pilgrimage does not mean only to take bath in the Ganges or Yamuna or to visit the temples situated in those places. One should also find representatives of Vidura who have no desire in life save and except to serve the personality of Godhead. The personality of Godhead is always with such pure devotees because of their unalloyed service, which is without any tinge of fruitive action or utopian speculation. They are in the actual service of the Lord, specifically by the process of hearing and chanting. The pure devotees hear from the authorities and chant, sing and write of the glories of the Lord. Mahamuni Vyasadeva heard from Narada and then he chanted in writing. Shukadeva Goswami studied from his father and he described it to Parikshit. That is the way of Srimad-Bhagavatam. So by their actions, the devotees of the Lord can render any place into a place of pilgrimage. And the holy places are worth the name only on their account. Such pure devotees are able to rectify the polluted atmosphere of any place. And what to speak of a holy place rendered unholy by the questionable acts of interested persons who try to adopt a professional life at the cost of the reputation of a holy place. Before we discuss on this verse, let me offer some prayers. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Nama Shreshtham Manamapi Shachiputram Atra Swarupam Rupam Tasyagrajam Murupurim Mathurim Ushthavati Radha Kundam Girivaram Maho Radhika Madhavasham Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Gurum Tam Natosmi. Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam तं sajeevam sadvaitam savadhutam parijana sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Adadandastranam Dante Idam Yachah Punah Punah Shriman Rupa Padambhojam Dhulisyam Janma Janmani He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadābhṛtā Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Today we are reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 13, entitled Dhritarashtra Quits Home, Text 10. Bhavad-vidhā bhāgavatās tīrtha-bhūtāḥ svayaṁ vibho tīrthī-kurvanti tīrthāni svāntaḥ-sthena gadābhṛtā. Translation: My dear Lord, devotees like your good self are verily holy places personified. Because you carry the personality of Godhead within your heart, you turn all places into places of pilgrimage. This is one of the wonderful verses of Srimad-Bhagavatam. And it is a great coincidence that we are talking about this verse today. Bhavad-vidhā bhāgavatās tīrthī-bhūtāḥ svayaṁ vibho tīrthī-kurvanti tīrthāni svāntaḥ-sthena gadābhṛtā. This verse talks about how a pure devotee of Krishna, like Vidur here, constantly thinks of Krishna. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santas sadaiva hrideshu vilokayanti. When the eyes are anointed with love for the Lord, the devotee of the Lord constantly sees Lord. There is not even one moment when the pure devotee of Lord, like Vidura, is not seeing Krishna. He is seeing santas sadaiva, constantly. Hridayeshu vilokayanti, within the heart. Svāntaḥ-sthena gadābhṛtā. So this svāntaḥ-sthena, within the core of one's being, the pure devotee of Krishna is constantly seeing the Lord within the core of his being and also everywhere. Sarvam cha mai pashyati. Yomam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati. Sees the Lord everywhere and everything in the Lord. So such a wonderful pure devotee of Krishna like Viduradev. This is being spoken by Yudhishthira Maharaj. He is addressing Viduradev in this way. He's saying that, O Lord, devotees like your good self are verily holy places of pilgrimage. When a pure devotee of Krishna is in a particular place, that place becomes a place of pilgrimage. And Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport about what is the real purpose of going to a place of pilgrimage. This is mentioned in Srimad-Bhagavatam as well. Yasyatma buddhi punape tridhatuke swadhik kalatradhishu bhaumya ijyadi Yat tīrtha buddhi salilena karechich janeshu abhigneshu sa eva gokhara. This is mentioned in Srimad-Bhagavatam about what is the real purpose of human form of life. If in the human form of life, one thinks that one is this tridha, kunape tridhatuke, this covering of the three types of layers. Yasyatma buddhi. If one is thinking that I am this body made up of kapha, pitta and vayu. Yasyatma buddhi kunape kalatradhishu. And through the intelligence, one is thinking that this wife and children and relatives and everyone is mine. Swadik kalatradhishu bhaumya ijiti. And one is thinking that the place where I am born is worshipable. And one goes to the places of pilgrimage with an intention of taking bath, but not associating with the pure devotees who are residing in that place. Yet tīrtha buddhi salile na kareche janeshu abhigneshu. One is going to the places of pilgrimage to take bath in the holy rivers and is not mingling with the pure devotees of Krishna. The main point of a place of pilgrimage is that the pastimes of Krishna has taken place there. For example, Vrindavan. So Vrindavan is a place where every place in Vrindavan has got some history related to Krishna. So this place, Krishna killed Aghasura. This place, Krishna killed Vyyomasura. This place, Krishna was bound by Mother Yashoda. This place, Krishna played with his cowherd friends. So every place in Vrindavana has got the activities, the transcendental activities of Krishna. Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam kavibhiriditam kalmashapaham Shravana Mangalam Srimad-Bhagavatam Bhuvi Grunanti Ye Bhuridajana. Like the Gopi Gita that the gopis have sung for Krishna. There is a place in Vrindavana where the gopis have sung this Gopi Gita. And talking about Krishna, that your wonderful glories is like a nectar. Tava kathamritam and tapta jivanam. So this material world is like a blazing fire of material existence. And when we hear your transcendental activities, hear about your transcendental activities, it gives us a cooling feeling, a satisfaction, a feeling of real satisfaction. Kalmashapaham, all the kalmashas, all the impurities are taken away. Shravana Mangalam, so when we are hearing about you, O Lord, it is all auspicious. There is auspiciousness everywhere. So this is Bhuvi Grunanti Ye Bhuridajana. So one who is most munificent would always hear about the Lord and talk about the Lord, because that is the final goal of human form of life. This is the Yat Tīrtha Buddhi. So when these pastimes have happened, the pastimes of Krishna has happened in these wonderful places of pilgrimage. So the devotees who are attached to the Lord are automatically attracted to these places. They don't want to leave those places. They're just glued because they can see personally the Lord everywhere in that place. And therefore, these wonderful devotees are present in those places of pilgrimage. These pure devotees of the Lord are present in those places of pilgrimage. And they're constantly, directly perceiving Krishna there. And therefore, they have, when they go outside the place of pilgrimage, they bring the same unalloyed devotion everywhere they go. Who is a better example for this than the founder Acharya of International Society for Krishna Consciousness, Srila Prabhupada? Abhay Charanaravindra Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Actually, in his heart of hearts, he did not want to leave Vrindavan. He wanted to stay there in Vrindavan. Because we know the pure devotees of Krishna are attached to the places where Krishna has performed his pastimes. Because even though those places might be in a material world, but they are purely transcendental. Chintamani prakara sadmashu kalpa vriksha lakshavrateshu surabhir abhipalayantam lakshmi sahasra shata sambrama sevyamanam govindam adipurusham tamaham bhajami. In their vision, they see that the Bhaumya Vrindavan is non-different from Goloka Vrindavan. In their internal vision, even though externally, in material sense, there might be so many material contaminations, like pollution, not only of the environment, but pollution of the minds. Because the greatest pollution is a pollution of mind. And when the mind is polluted, the external environment also gets polluted. The internal gets reflected in the external. What is the reason that this humanity is suffering from all these conditions of weather change, climate change, and everything else? Because we have lost that connection with the Lord. When there is connection with the Lord, we live in that condition where we are respectful of all the living entities. It's not a matter of just satisfying just an endless sense of material aggrandizement. In a state where one is disconnected from the Lord, the only concern is satisfaction of the senses. There is no other concern except satisfying the senses as much as possible. And in that condition, one is, even though externally one might feel that one is advancing, but as we can see, we have created a lot of concrete jungles. But what is this concrete jungles giving? Of course, they are giving a good protection in terms of the houses and the buildings and all these magnificent structures that we create. But what are we losing? We are losing the trees. The trees are helping the environment to be conducive for us to survive. If at a certain point in time we have no trees, then the existence of the living species will become, probably they'll become non-extinct, because we need oxygen. The oxygen is provided by the trees. This is what is happening in the context of the contemporary world. There is pollution in the mind, which is coming out as pollution in the external world. So what is the best way of reducing the pollution in the external world? When we understand the significance of these wonderful devotees of Krishna, who are connected with the Lord at every moment, when we understand the significance of being with them, of hearing from them, when we understand this, then we are in a state of peacefulness, of bliss. And in that state, our mind is not polluted. Our mind is in a transcendental state. This is what is the most important sum and substance of this verse. in terms of understanding the significance of a pure devotee of Krishna. For example, as we discussed, Srila Prabhupada was in his heart of hearts, he would have stayed in Vrindavan for the whole time. But he wanted everyone to hear about Krishna. So he personally went to as many countries as possible in the world. And it was like Vrindavan going to those places. Bhavad-vidhā, bhāgavatās, tīrthī-bhūtāḥ, svayaṁ vibho, tīrthī-kurvanti tīrthāni, svāntaḥ-sthena gadābhṛtā. Because Srila Prabhupada was seeing Krishna at every moment, wherever he went, he brought Vrindavan with him to those places. And the living entities actually all the living entities are internally connected to Krishna. There is no living entity who is not connected to Krishna. Nitya siddha Krishna prema sadhya kabo nai. Shravanadi shuddha chitte korayodai. It's not that sadhya kabo nai. So this love for Krishna is there in the heart of all the living entities. It's not that a person who is agnostic does not love Krishna. Even an agnostic loves Krishna. The only problem is they have not realized it yet. Somehow or other, if they come in touch with a pure devotee of Krishna, like Srila Prabhupada, even an agnostic can understand that they are eternally connected with Krishna. Mama eva amsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. So Krishna says that all the living entities are my part and parcel, eternally part and parcel. But because we identify ourselves with the mind and the five senses, mana shashrani indriyani, we start struggling in this material universe. Mana shashrani indriyani prakriti sthani karshati. So instead of getting attracted to Krishna, one is in a state of karshati. So Krishna means one who attracts everyone to him. Akarshati iti Krishna. One who is attracting everyone to him is Krishna. But if we are not becoming akarshit with Krishna or attracted to Krishna, we will be in the state of karshati, struggle. If we are not getting attracted to Krishna, we are struggling in this material universe. But if we are attracted to Krishna, and this attraction to Krishna is internally present in all the living entities. How is this revealed? It is revealed when these wonderful devotees like Vidura, Srila Prabhupada, when they are associating with all the other people who have not realized that they are also pure devotees of Krishna. So therefore it is called the process of self-realization. This journey, spiritual journey, is a process of self-realization, God realization. Why do we use the term realization? We don't use the term finding something new. We are not saying that we are going to find something that is not existing. We are saying that we are trying to realize that is already existing. And that is spiritual path. When the layers of impurities are removed, one automatically sees that I was always connected with the Lord. There was never a point I was not connected with the Lord. That is this process of cleansing. Dhunoti swapada moolam bhajata priyasya Tyaktanya bhavasya hari paresha dhunoti sarvam hridi sannivishto. So this is vikarma tachot patitam kathanchit dhunoti sarvam hridi sannivishta swapada moolam bhajata priyasya. So there is this beautiful verse about how if someone is unfortunately in a fallen condition, but even in that fallen condition, if someone is trying to somehow or other worship the lotus feet of the Lord, swapada moolam bhajata priyasya, with a lot of love and affection, tyaktanya bhavasya vikarma tachot patitam katanchit. Maybe due to some circumstances, unfortunately, one is going in the direction of vikarma, which is actually creating negative consequences to the individual, and therefore he has fallen down. Dhunoti sarvam hridi sannivishta. So Krishna cleans even those impurities because of the loving devotional service of that person. This is Krishna actually mentions about the other in there is the other verse where it is mentioned that even one is apichet suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak sadureva samantavya samyak vyavastito hisa Shipram bhavati dharmatma shashvachantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Bhajate mam ananya bhak. This is the most important part. Bhajate mam ananya bhak. One who is rendering service to Krishna in an unalloyed way, in an uninterrupted way. How does this uninterrupted devotional service start? It starts from a moment of devotional service. Just a moment. So every moment, if the moments are joined together, it becomes an eternity. What is eternity? A combination of infinite moments. That is eternity. So a moment is included in eternity. So every moment, if it is if that thinking is there in terms of manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi satyam te pratijane priyosime. So the mind, giving the mind to Krishna, manmana bhava, become Krishna's devotee, mad bhakta, madhyaji, to offer the prayers to Krishna, mam namaskuru, to offer obeisances to Krishna. Then Krishna says, mame vaishyasi satyam te, you will surely come to me. I'm telling you the truth. Why I am telling this truth to you? Pratijane priyosime. Oh Arjuna, because you are very dear to me. I am telling this truth to you. That think about me. So this cleansing is the so Srinvatam Swakatak Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridi Antastohi Abhadrani Vidhunoti. So this dhunoti is there, vidhunoti, suhrit sata. So when we are hearing about Krishna, Srinvatam Swakatak Krishna, the activity by itself is very pious. Punya Shravana Kirtana. The hearing and chanting of Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's instructions, Krishna's devotees is Punya Shravana Kirtana, is pious in itself. Then Hridi Antastohi Abhadrani. So whatever impurities are there within the heart, dhunoti, vidhunoti, it gets cleansed. And when that cleaning process is taking place, then that is the time which is the time of self-realization or God realization. When we realize ourselves as an eternal part and parcel of Krishna, then automatically we are realizing Krishna as well. Because in that self-realization, that aspect of God realization is also there. This is what the pure devotee of Krishna like Vidur Maharaj is. And we also see the story about how Vidur Maharaj is actually Yamraj himself. He is Yamraj was cursed by, we see in the purport of Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 13, Text 1. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions about Vidura being cursed by Manduka Muni to become a Shudra. So this was, because there was this, Yamraj was doing his duty of punishing, and basically Manduka Muni was being punished for his childish innocence. And because he was innocent of some activity, and because of that, Manduka Muni cursed Yamraj to be born as a Shudra. And that's how Vidura was born. So Vidura is actually Yamaraj. And who is Yamaraj? Yamaraj is one of the 12 Mahajans. Swayambhu, Narada, Shambhu, Kumara, Kapilo, Manu, Prahlado, Janako, Bhishmo, Balir, Vaiyasakir, Vayam. So the 12 Mahajans are, the first is Lord Brahma, then Narada, then Lord Shiva, Shambhu, Kumara, the 4 Kumaras, Sanak, Sanat, Sanatana, and Sanananda. Manu, the first person, Prahlad, we know Prahlad's wonderful story. Janaka Dev is the father of Sita Devi. Prahlada, Janako, Bhishma, Bali, Vaiyasakir, Vayam, Shukadev Goswami, and Yamraj is telling this verse. Vayam, he's saying that so that there are 12 Mahajans, and Vidura is one of the Mahajans there. And who is he talking to here? Who is saying this verse that you are a place of pilgrimage? It is Yudhishthira. Who is Yudhishthira? Yudhishthira is actually indirectly son of Yamraj as well. So this discussion is like 2 pure devotees of Krishna talking to each other. And one pure devotee is recognizing another pure devotee. That is how this recognition process happens. Who sees the purity in another person? How can we see the purity in another person? We see this world from our lens, through our own lens. And if a person is internally pure, he will see purity everywhere. If a person is internally in a state of impurity or in a state of demoniac propensity, unfortunately, that person will see the demoniac propensity everywhere. They will actually see that in a pure person as well. This is really a very, this is a fundamental aspect that it doesn't, we don't need to be spiritually advanced to understand this. Of course, being spiritually advanced would mean one has the best knowledge. Adhyatma jnana nityatvam tattva jnanartha darshanam etad jnanam iti proktam yadato ajnanam anyatha. Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that this spiritual knowledge, adhyatma jnana nityatvam, continuous spiritual knowledge, and tattva jnanartha darshanam, this understanding about the real truth, is the only real knowledge. Krishna says, etad jnanam iti proktam yadato ajnanam anyatha. Everything else is not real knowledge. Why is it not real knowledge? Why is spiritual knowledge the only real knowledge? Why is not all the other knowledge real knowledge? The reason is because when spiritual knowledge is attained, one knows the eternal nature of one's existence. And when that is known, nothing is going to deter the person from any. The biggest challenge in this material world is this thinking that I am this body and I am this mind. Yasyatma buddhi kunape tridhatuke. This thinking creates, thinking that I am this body, I am this mind. It creates a kind of attachment to this material world. And when this attachment to the material world happens, the attachment to the Lord cannot happen. They are mutually exclusive to each other. Therefore, this wonderful verse from Srila Rupa Goswami, Smeram Bhangi Traya Parichitam, Shachi Vishtirna Drishtim, Vamshi Nyesta Adhara Kishalayam Ujvalam Chandrakena, Govindakyam Haritanam iti Keshi Tirthopa Kante Ma Prekshishta Tavayadi Sakhe Bandhu Sange Stiranga. This is said by Srila Rupa Goswami, and it is such a beautiful, wonderful verse where Srila Rupa Goswami says that don't go and have a look at Krishna. If you are attached to your Sakhe Bandhu Sange Stiranga, if you're attached to your friends, if you're attached to your family, don't go and have a look at Krishna, who is standing in Keshi Ghata with flute in his lips in the full moonlit light. Because when we are attached to material, matter and spirit are, and this is the wonderful state of this material world. This is the wonderful creation of the Lord, that something that is spirit is purely spirit. There is no matter in it, and matter is pure matter. There is no spirit in it. Matter is dead. From the beginning to end, matter is dead. And from the beginning to end, spirit is alive. Spirit is eternal. And this combination of matter and spirit is existing in this material world. This is a wonderful creation of the Lord. If the spirit was not there when a person is born, unfortunately, the person is not going to grow. The birth and death would be happening at the same time. It is a spirit that is distinguishing a living person from a dead person, and that is that we are. If the spirit is not there, I won't be talking. My body will not be moving. Neither will I be talking, nor the people who are listening through this medium would be listening. Nothing would be happening, basically. And the most important thing to understand is that we are all spirits. We are actually spirit souls with a kind of yantra rudhani maya. So we have got an instrument. We have got a vehicle that the Lord has given to exist in this material world, because the material world is made of matter. So in the material world, if I have to interact with someone else, I need to have a vehicle of matter. And then I can identify, okay, there is another vehicle of matter, and I will talk with another vehicle of matter. But who is providing the consciousness? The consciousness is being provided by the spirit soul. And what is the spirit soul? It is an eternal part and parcel of Krishna. But one of the things here is to understand is that even matter is an energy of Krishna. So Krishna says he has got the superior energies and the inferior energies. Gomirapa analo vayu khammana buddhirevacha ahankaram itiyam me bhinna prakritir ashtada. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. So there are very gross elements which keeps on becoming subtle and subtle and subtler. So earth is gross, then water is, you can feel the water, then fire, if you try to feel the fire, you'll get burnt. Then air, you cannot see the air, you can see the fire, but you cannot see the air. Then space is existing. We know that everything is existing in space. Then mind, the mind is even more subtler. The psychologists know that mind exists. The science knows mind exists, but they cannot. They understand that there is brain, and brain has got different, like there is dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins. There are all these chemicals that are generating in the brain. But what is the software of the brain? The chemical is it's like a kind of hardware. The chemicals and the brain is hardware, but what is the software? Software is the mind, which cannot be seen really. but we know mind is existing. Then intelligence. We know that the left side and the right side, they say there is a logical side and then there is an artistic side. So the logical side is intelligence. So intelligence is also existing. And then false ego. False ego is something that is probably not, science has not analyzed that as much at the moment, false ego. But spirituality knows that there is this false ego. False ego is this association of the eternal spirit soul with this temporary body, which creates that, we can call it a kind of illusion. It creates a kind of illusion that this is the only thing that we have, the body. And if we understand mind, we can say that, okay, mind is also existing. So that is false ego. The false ego is connecting the eternal spiritual soul with a temporary body. And every time the spirit soul is taking a body, this false ego is doing that association, that linking. And therefore, Krishna says this ahankara vimodhatma karta hamiti manyate. When we are thinking that when we associate ourselves with our body, then we start thinking that I am doing this, I am doing this, I am doing this. But actually, this is prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha. Ya pashyati tathatmanam akartaram sapashyati. These understanding are fully imprinted in the heart of the pure devotee of Krishna, like Vidura. This understanding that this body is just a vehicle. Yantraru Ishvara sarva bhutanam hriddeshe arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarva bhutani yantra rodhani maya. That Krishna is present in the heart of all the living entities, hriddeshe, and he's moving. Ekale Ishwar Krishna ar sababhritya yare yache nichaye te taiche kare nritya. So Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. This, and how is Krishna doing this? Because it depends on the living entity's desire. Upadrashta Hanumanta cha bharta bhokta maheshwara paramatmeti sacha apiyukto dehesmin purusha para. So Krishna is the overseer, Upadrashta, and Anumanta, the permitter. So if a living entity has got this desire that that I want to keep enjoying my senses, irrespective of whatever the situation, and is so adamant that the living entity wants to do that, then Krishna says, okay, if you want to do that, okay, I allow you to do that. This is the greatness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that if he wants, he can forcefully control all the living entities. He can forcefully make everyone a pure devotee. Actually, internally, everyone is a pure devotee. But in terms of the external realization that this is what is the case, Krishna can do this forcefully. But he never does that. And the reason is, if there is force, then there is no love. The real love means the person is given independence. And in that independence, the person can choose. You can choose either to go back or go away. So this is the greatness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bhoktaram yagyatapasam sarvalokam maheshwaram suhridam sarva bhutanam gyatva mam shanti muchati. So actually Krishna is sarvaloka maheshwaram. Is the Lord of the whole universe. In that respect, he can practically just forcefully make everyone a pure devotee. Like in terms of the external sense. But he does not do that because this freedom is given to the living entity, that choice is given. And basing on that choice, the living entity can decide to associate with the pure devotee of Krishna, like how it is mentioned in this verse. Bhavad-vidhā bhāgavatās tīrtha-bhūtāḥ svayaṁ vibho tīrthī-kurvanti tīrthāni svāntaḥ-sthena gadābhṛtā. So Srila Prabhupada mentions about in the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions the personality of Godhead is always with such pure devotees. because of their unalloyed service, which is without any tinge of fruitive action or utopian speculation. This is where Srila Rupa Goswami says, Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukulyena krishna anushilanam bhaktiruttama. So when one does not have any other desire except to serve the Lord, and Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam, and one does not have the tinge of jnana marga or karma marga. The jnana marga is mental speculation in terms of just this understanding that everything is one, the Aham Brahmasmi. But then there is no relationship with Krishna. That is jnana. And karma marg is fruitive activities, doing activities to get to the heavenly planets and continue the enjoyment, the sense enjoyment. So that is karma. So jnana karmadi anavritam anukulyena krishna anushilanam. When one is rendering service to the Lord, satisfying the Lord, that is bhakti uttama. The supreme bhakti is that. So Srila Prabhupada mentions they are in the actual service of the Lord, specifically by the process of hearing and chanting. Shravanadi shuddha chitte. Shravanam kirtanam vishnum smaranam padasevanam archanam vandanam dasyam sakyam atmanivedanam. As Srila Prahlad Maharaj is saying, the 9 kinds of devotional service. Shravanam, hearing; Shravanam, kirtanam, chanting; Smaranam, remembering; Vishnu, about Krishna; Shravanam, kirtanam, Vishnu; Smaranam, padasevanam, rendering service to the lotus feet of the Lord; Archanam, offering flowers to the Lord; Vandanam, saying prayers to the Lord; Dasyam, becoming a devotee of the Lord, a servant of the Lord; Sakhyam, becoming a friend of the Lord; and Atmanivedanam, total 100% surrender to the Lord. So these are the 9 kinds of devotional service. The pure devotees hear from the authorities and chant, sing, and write of the glories of the Lord. Mahamuni Vyasadeva heard from Narada, and then he chanted in writing. So this is the evam parampara praptam, imam rajarshayo vidu. So this transcendental knowledge has to be received in disciplic succession. So one pure devotee is passing it on to another pure devotee, and another pure devotee is passing it on to another pure devotee. And in that way, the pure devotees, when they are coming in association with other people, they are making them pure devotees. This is a transcendental contamination that we talked about in our previous talk. This current unfortunate situation is the contamination of something that is causing health issues and all those things. But this is a transcendental contamination where the pure devotee is going out, is bringing the place of pilgrimage with him wherever he is going, and the people are coming in touch with him, and they are getting contaminated with pure love for Krishna. And it's a transcendental contamination. It is not something. It is, if we can say it as it is something that is helping the person to come out of this cycle of birth and death. This is an unfortunate situation that all the conditioned living entities in this material world are in. That there is an easy way out of this cycle of birth and death. Tasyaham sulabha partha nitya yuktasya yogina. Ananya cheta satatam yo mam smarati nityasha tasyaham sulabha partha. The easy way is remembering the Lord always. Satatam yo mam smarati. Remembering the Lord. Because there is nothing greater than the mind. In terms of our, the mind is controlling everything, literally. The mind is controlling our activities. The mind is controlling what I'm going to do in the next moment. So the mind is given to the Lord, and mind is thinking about the Lord, then everything else is automatically involved in Lord's service. So therefore Krishna says, Ananya Cheta Satatam Yo Mam Smarati. Remembers, one who remembers me. Nityasha. Constantly. Tasyaham Sulabha Partha. So Krishna says that for such a person, I am easily available. Why? Because Nitya Yuktasya Yogina. Because such a person has been constantly remembering me, I am easily available to such a person. So this is the state of Maharaj Vidura. Vidurdev, and he is transmitting this through his presence wherever he is going to the pilgrimage. So the context here is Vidura has returned from the places of pilgrimage, and everyone is talking to Vidura. And here Yudhishthira Maharaj is saying that, "Oh Vidura, you are someone who actually make any place a place of pilgrimage." So this is what, by your presence. Why? Because svāntaḥ-sthena gadābhṛtā. Because you have situated, you understand the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead within your heart. And you see that Supreme Personality of Godhead always within the heart. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santas sadaiva hrideshu vilokayanti yam shyama sundaram achintya gunaswarupam govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. So with that prayer, let us pray that we always be in that state of mind where our eyes are anointed with love for Krishna. And in that state of mind, let us pray that we can always remember Krishna. So with that words, I would like to conclude this discussion on Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 13, Text 10. If there is any comments or questions, we can take. I'll just read Anju Yamanti ji, Hare Krishna, and Nehal Murphy, Hare Krishna, Solan Krishna Dutt Sharma, Jai Shri Krishna, Santosh Savita Radhe Radhe, Raj Bahadur Dubey, Jai Shri Krishna, Harsh Shah, Hare Krishna, Rajiv Kochuman, Hare Krishna, Gopalacharya Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Prabhu, thank you very much. Manoj Purohit, Hare Krishna ji, everyone, and Yuvraj Paswan, Jai Shri Krishna. So, Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. Sarvam Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Krishne Matirastu. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.